What's up, YouTube? Mr. LaMSC here, and today we are going to be doing the video of videos. This is it worth it? Do I keep it? What is the value of it? We are going to be exploring all of those questions, exploring all of the items. This video is probably going to be a little bit long. I'll try to chapter it a little bit as we go through the stuff, but we're basically playing The Price is Right. Right here. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. Get into all of it. There's a lot of items in Diablo 2. I'm going to try and go through every item in Diablo 2 for you guys. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be doing this actually in the old version of Diablo 2 because I have all of the items in the game already there. So that is just easier for me rather than trying to port every single item into the new D2 Resurrected single player or find all whatever it is. We'll do a grail on there later, but for now we're just going to start here. And I am going to, we'll come into like rune words and that stuff later. To start out, we're just going to start with charms. Then we'll go into some jewels. We'll go into jewelry, armors, weapons, probably some bases discussion, and then some sets at the end of all of that. So once again, I'll try and chapter this out for you guys. So starting off with some charms. Now, a thing to note, of course, is prices will vary throughout the ladder, right? I already had a discussion video where we talked about prices of items and how they are on ladder, and how at the very start there's a wide range, and then it kind of narrows in more as people find the prices. But you'll also have some things that are going to increase in price as the ladder goes on, because at the start, people just aren't rich enough to buy all of these really expensive, nice items. So sometimes it's worth it to just hold on to the really nice item, let its value kind of grow, and then you can make trades with it later. So take all of this with that in mind. And of course, note things like I had said before, which is anything that gives magic find or is one of the like staple pieces in a majority of builds, such as the Shaco. Anytime that you have a piece like this, it is going to be worth a ton at the start, and then it will drop in value. Okay, so just remember that these values for items like this will be fluctuating. So overall with charms, torches early will be worth more because nobody has a torch, and that's going to be a big value add. As more torches get farmed, more people get the torches and they're just looking for minor upgrades and stuff, the value will start to drop some. I still believe a lot of torches are going to be worth like a low high rune, and we'll use currency as the values here, and I'll actually write up a quick little thing. So let's start with that. I think that'll be the best place since that's what we're going to be using to determine the values of it all. So this is going to be rune values, okay? So we'll do this. Sir, Lo, Bex, Zod, Cham, Gol, Istmal, Pol, Lem, Ko, Lum, Foul. I know the text is massive. I'm going to make it small for you guys. I just wanted to write them all up real fast. Just wanted to get them all written up. So this is going to be pretty much your order of operations for runes in their values. Okay? This is going to be what it is generally going to look like right here. John Burr are going to be your top dogs because these make your best rune words, right? These make your COH, these make your Infinity, these make your Enigma, these make your Faith, right? All of those good old GG runes, these are going to be worth a lot. So if you say that this is worth, generally a lot of people like to put Ohm, I would say, around like 1 high rune. Ohm or low, I think both get put around kind of like 1 high rune of value. This is kind of your standard high rune value place. This is probably more like 1.1. This is probably more like 0.9 or something, right? Which can be confusing, I know. This is probably worth like 1.2 3 high runes. And then these are going to be worth like 2.6 to 2.8 high rune. Probably something around there, right? Once again, these values are not exact. This is just giving you kind of a standard idea. Vex is going to be worth generally like 0.5 high runes. And this is all assuming that a high rune falls somewhere between an ohm and a low of whatever the value is, right? So this is all just in relation to each other. Once again, I could say low is 10 high rune value, and then that would just make, Jobber like 30 high rune value. But if a low is 10, then use that with that, right? So it's all relative. Zod is also going to be about 0.5 high rune. It's worth pretty much the same there. This is like 0.25 high runes. Goal is also going to be about 0.25 high runes. Ist is probably like 0.2 high runes. Mal probably like 0.1 high runes. 0.06 high runes. It's worth a little bit more than that value. Pull 0.04 high rune. And then, you get down into like your lems and stuff and whatever, which is like 0.03 high runes. And I mean, at this point, now you're just getting into like 0.01 high rune, right? For like kind of the rest of these. So, once again, this is not an exact, perfect. Try and like make it a little bigger. I just need to put a back on it so it has opacity. There we go. This is not 100% exactly perfect, and the values do change because once again, Jaw and Burr were probably worth even more at the very, very start, right? In comparison to some of those other ones. Vex was worth more at the very start because people wanted Hodos, all of this stuff. And so now they're going to kind of drop some because now people have their Hodos and they don't need the Vex as much and whatever, but this is generally going to be your value right here. Do not take this as law. Do not take these values as exacts. What this is here to show you is a general idea of the value of each of this and where the value of things like your IO and your FAL and your LUM and these things really kind of just drop, and they're not really trading for a lot right there. Right. So is this to say that you traded a Vex and a Zod for a low and it was a perfect trade? No. I mean, maybe some people want the Vex and the Zod more and they would say, oh, well, I value, the Vex and Zod more at like 0.6 or 0.7. And so it's worth a little more. Or maybe at a different time in the ladder, it's worth a little bit different. Right. Whatever it is. This is just to give you a general idea. So you say, somebody offered me Cham Rune for my Jaw Rune. Is that a good trade? You can look at this and say, nah, that's not even close. Right? Not even close in value. But somebody offered me a Sur Rune for a Low Rune. Is that a good trade? It's not a terrible trade. Sur for low, sure. If you really need the low and they really need the Sur, okay, there's maybe a tiny value difference there, but it's not a big deal. And the values could adjust over the course of the ladder where low is worth a tiny bit more than Sur or something, right? Any of that. So I just want to be very clear that this is not an exact science, an exact value that will stick forever. This is just a general idea, so you have a general sense. And when I talk about something is worth a high rune in value, I'm saying probably like between an ohm and a low roughly and stuff like that. Somewhere around there, right? You could also say Jabber is worth 1 high rune, Sur is worth half a high rune, right? You could do that and go down in value. But this is generally how a lot of the community, I think, likes to set it. I think a lot of people use ohm or low. I can't remember exactly. I think low is the standard that people like to put as high rune, technically. And then ohm is like 0.8 of it probably right now, something like that. So anyways, we can just have that there in some capacity. So moving forward, let's go ahead and get into now the charms. So the first thing I'm going to say, and maybe even let me have that text over like on the side. This is just like llamas kind of. I'm going to change this to say like estimated rune values. We'll just put this over here. Yeah, because I don't want people thinking this is exact and whatever it is. Right? And I'm sure people are already going to get mad at me for saying low is 1.1 higher instead of 1 higher, but whatever. So, anyways, charms. So the first thing we should look at with charms, do I keep it? The rule of thumb is generally going to be this. Any charm that is a skiller, it should be kept. Because at the very least, you can trade some skiller. You know, okay, I got not a great one. Okay, maybe not curses, but even like 1 to curses, somebody might give you like a co-rune or a lem rune for a +1 to curses GC. Any skiller GC, I think you can trade for even the smallest amount of value. And once again, is a lem worth a lot? No. Is a foul worth a lot? Not really. But they can be nice and they can be used in some things, right? So, summoning skills druid, martial arts assassin, curse necro, defensive auras paladin. You could sell all of these if you think it's not worth your value and your time. If you're a higher level, I think selling those is perfectly fine. If you're like already rich enough and it's like, I don't need this at all, sell it, give it to somebody, whatever. But somebody out there who has no skillers whatsoever will say, hey, it makes my bear a little bit stronger. I'll give you a foul or a lem rune for it. So you can give a lot of those skillers for that. Now, the skillers that you want to see are the ones that are in useful trees. So lightning skill, cold skill, fire skill for the sorceress. For the druid, you're going to want shape-shifting, and even not really, because people probably prefer more of max damage AR charms, but shape-shifting is okay. And then elemental tree is going to be the big one there. For the necro, poison and bone, that's going to be the main one, and summoning skills will also be desired. For the Amazon, you're going to want your javelin skillers, and not really your bow skillers, because once again, they want max damage AR, but bow skillers can be like middle of the ground. For your paladin, combat skillers, and offensive skillers are okay, but combat skillers are the main ones. For your, what characters haven't we covered yet? Let me go to the character screen. Barbarian. Barbed skillers aren't crazy desired, but I guess the combat skillers there as well are okay. So once again, that's probably the highest valued. And then I guess war cries actually is what people really want. Yeah, so they can increase their war cry and have it for shouts or whatever stuff. And then the assassin, it's going to be your trap skillers. And maybe some of your martial ones, but that's not going to be highly desired. Really, your trap skillers are going to be the main ones. So those will be the skillers for all the characters that you want to keep. Now, additionally here, you'll also want to keep any of your Jeeds. These can generally go for like you could once again get like a lem or a pole. If it has good value, and I'll talk about the other skillers. If it has good value, like this is like a 40-15. Yes, it's low on the gold find, but 40-15, you could definitely trade this, try and get like an Ist rune maybe or something, right? People will trade for things that are perfect a lot more. That adds to the value. For skillers, generally I would say any decent skiller is going to go from like an rune to an Ist rune, depending on if it's a PCOM, if it's a cold skiller, if it's in one of those like decent ranges, probably in that range. But if you start adding things to them, like faster hit recovery, if you start getting like big life on them, that's where you can start adding more value to these, right? So anything, and 45 life is the maximum life. So a P-combat skiller with 45 life is going to go for many high runes, I'm sure, because that is like the perfect charm. And it will be worth that for forever, because everybody wants the 45 life paladin combat. So the more life on it that you can get, the more value that you can add to it. And it's hard to give you an exact value because, once again, these are going to fluctuate some, and it depends every skiller and everything. But just know if you have one of the decent skillers from the classes I mentioned with some life on it, that it's worth a little bit more. You can kind of feel around and see if people will throw a high rune at it, or if you can get, a Vex or whatever it is for the skiller right there with the life. So that's going to be the main piece from that. Now, other charms that can be really useful can be things like this, where you're getting big max damage, attack rating, life charms, right? Who sells a 40/15 for IST? You're getting scammed if you let it go for IST. All right, it could be worth more than IST. I'm just saying, feel it out, right? Like, I don't have the exact values on these things, but feel it out for sure, and just see what the offers you're kind of getting. Don't sell it to the first or second offer, right? Wait a little bit. So anyways, other charms that can be really nice. You can get these max damage, attack rating, life grand charms like this. You can get just pure max damage, attack rating ones, attack rating life, different things like that. So those can be kind of useful. Let me see if I've got some other ones. They might be on a character. The ones that I do have, probably on a character. Yeah. Oh, there's just like a max damage attack rating. So these can be nice charms. Here's a bigger attack rating life charm. And once again, these are just going to be for characters that are those melee characters or the Boazons or whatever, and they just want to get big stacks of life, attack rating, and max damage. So you're just going to be looking for those. You're going to be looking for little small charms that are, 3, 20, 20 is the perfect. 3 max damage, 20 attack rating, 20 to life. But, you can get a variety of other charms like these, 2 16s, 3 15, 3 12. There's a variety of those little small charms that you're going to get. There's a 1 13 20, and these are all nice, right? Additionally, the closer you get to like 3 20 20, the more you're going to get big value with all of that stuff, right? Charms that are just life small charms like this are probably worth like a lem to a pole, I would imagine. Anything with 20 to life for the small charm is always going to be very nice. And so that's something that you're definitely going to want to just hold on to. Life mana charms will be very nice to hold on to. And so any combinations of things that you're seeing down here. Additionally, if you can get charms with good, 5 fast rate recovery, 11 fire res. That's max fire res. If I go over to, let me go to my Hammerden real fast. Where is he? If I go to my Hammerden, I've got some charms that are like 4 all res, 6% magic find. So magic find charms, 7% are the maximum, are always going to be worth something. Somebody's always going to want a 7% MF. And if you can get some additional things on it, 2 14 7, this would be fantastic for a Berserk Barb or something. Of course, anything like this where it's like all res plus magic find. The more that you're stacking resistances, hit recovery, life, max damage, attack rating, magic find. I don't know if I said that already or not. And mana, the kind of better it's going to be for a lot of that stuff. So a charm that could be worth a ton, like 2011, that's pretty nice. That'll have some good value. A 20 life 4 all res, a 20 life 5 all res is maximum. This is going to be super nice. Fast run walk can be nice as well. It's generally not worth as much, but some characters will want it. So this is going to be like a really nice charm that I had found. And so any of these sorts of charms like this, the more res and life and that sort of stuff you're stacking, the more value it's going to have. And generally, like I say, these charms will range at like from like a pole rune, if you're just talking like, maybe a 7 MF regular charm could be worth pole, all the way up to this could be worth, or a 25 could be worth, high rune plus, right? Like that sort of stuff. So, this right here, I could probably maybe get a jaw rune for, I would try for, maybe a little bit less. 7 MFs right now are worth half an IST. yeah, 7MF small charms are going to be worth more right now because, once again, people still want to stack Magic Find. They'll probably drop a little bit more to that pull to range as it goes on and the ladder or season continues. I guess we're not really in a ladder yet, but the game continues. Also, if you can get 7MF with like 11% fire reds or light reds or cold reds or whatever, people love those. So that kind of sums up a lot with charms. In terms of torches and annies, like I said, their value is going to drop some. Paladin and sorceress are still going to be worth the most, pretty much always. And then any 2020 is going to still have some value because somebody's going to play a barb or a necro or whatever it is out there, and they'll want the perfect torch. So you can get those and trade them off and do a lot with that stuff, right? So whenever you get a 2020 or you get a sorcerer paladin, that's where you're going to really get into the like good high runes territory. The worse you get and the lower the attributes and stats for other torches, the more they're going to drop in value, right? So this is where if you get like a 12, 13 necro torch, it's probably going to go for like Rune or Rune now, right? And it might even drop further as more torches get on the market. They're really going to lose some of that value. But at the very start, those can still be worth at least a Vex, just because if nobody has torches, getting a torch immediately can be really nice. Annies are going to be worth a crap ton right now because there's no Annies that exist yet. So the first Annie that exists will be worth a lot. If you get a 20-20-10, that'll be worth whatever price you want pretty much. But any Annie, once again, it'll be just like torches. Starting out, the higher that you get and closer you get to perfect, the more it'll be worth. And then it'll drop in value kind of as it goes on from there. So, yeah, I think that covers charms. I think we're good to move on. Jewels. So facets are going to be the main jewels that we'll talk about first. Facets aren't really going to have a ton of value unless they're 5/5s. So if you get like 5/5 and people like the dies especially, a 5/5 die facet is when people actually really want it. Any other facet is really going to drop off in value. You're maybe looking at like pole, lem, even less, whatever for a lot of them, because it's just kind of I guess I'll throw it in something temporarily until I get the gear that I really want and then put it in. When I say die, it's the when you die, right? 100% chance to cast level 31 meteor when you die is they have level and die. So these will probably not be worth a ton unless they're perfect, in which case I'm not sure what the value is exactly, but I'd guess around like Rune plus maybe, something like that. And facets will probably go up in value a little bit, I would imagine, the 5/5s as the game continues on and people start actually caring about that, because it's such an optimization piece that people are still looking for, their CTAs and HODOs and all those things right now, and they don't have time to think about like a tiny little 5/5 or something. So that's what I would think, but still fun to keep any facets. They're at least fun. You can toss them in, maybe somebody wants, oh, okay, well, it's better than nothing to have a 3/5 in there, so I'll just do that. Moving on, other jewels. You can see things like this, like 35% enhanced damage, 14 max, 18 light res, 15 IAS, 6 max, 69 attack rating. All of these jewels are going to be garbage. It's very hard to find a blue jewel that actually has value, because you need to have a combination of a couple of things, basically. So you need to have that IAS and that enhanced damage. Oh boy, I hope I don't start dropping frames. Looks like I'm having some packet loss. You need to have like IAS and enhanced damage on it, or with the max or whatever it is. Don't you? Oh no. Oh no. All right, just a little stutter. Internet guy coming in 30 minutes. So anyways, you need to make sure you have some of that. And then, yeah, there's very few like blue jewels. I want to almost like bring up a list to give you guys a list of them. because there's just so few right there. Now, you can also have some rare jewels that can be really nice, and this is if you can get multiple stacks. You can get hit recovery, strength, dexterity, things like that. That'll actually be nice. And I can give you guys a list of jewels kind of down below for what to look for. But basically, you're looking for combinations of ED, IAS, minus requirements, max damage, dexterity, strength, all res, attack rating, a very high single res, 7 hit recovery, mana, and life. So that's going to kind of be that. And then these are kind of the jewels right here. Let me bring up a list. These are going to be essentially the jewels that are perfect and going to be worth high runes. And then you can, of course, do any kind of combinations, or like, okay, I don't have a 40-15, but I have a 35-15. That can still have some value and stuff, right? So this right here is going to be kind of a good list of stuff that can be solid. And then anything that you can get that is close to these can be really nice, right? And then these ones kind of down here with the 7 hit recovery, 9 strength, 9 dex. This is what you're looking like with like rare jewels and stuff. And a lot of druids will put these in like a pelt or something. That can be really nice. So these are going to be the ones that really kind of have some good value. I think this list is not fully completed. So I'm going to remove some of the top ones so the other ones come in. There you go. There's some more at the bottom right there. So anyways, that kind of covers that piece of it right there. Covers some jewels and what you're looking for going forward. Now, we already did runes right there, and so any runes below what I said pretty much have no value, almost, right? Anything below like Alum or Io, I mean, even in there, you're really getting into just like so little value. It's just kind of, if you need it, you just kind of ask for it and you trade another rune around. So if you need a Hell rune, maybe you give them a Shell rune, or you give an Am rune for a Soul rune, or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. Those are all going to be really low, but some people will need it and they'll be willing to overpay a little bit. They'll be like, hey, I'll give you a Ko rune for an Am rune because I just want to get the Am rune. And that is it. They're just like, so they don't want to wait or anything like that, right? They just want it, and they just want it now, pretty much. So that's kind of a very, important thing to note. Moving forward, man, I almost wonder if we should cut the video and just like keep doing like multiples for it, or this is gonna be so long. But maybe the chapters is fine. You know what? Let's. Should we cut it there? I feel like we should. Let's keep going. All right. So, getting into the amulets. Screw it. We're going to cut right there because that was a lot already to take in. So, we've got the runes, we've got the jewels, we've got the charms, and we've got all of this stuff. We're going to cut, and then we're going to jump into the uniques after that, or we can get into the jewelry and armors and all of this. I think that'll be much better. Otherwise, this is going to get way too long and just have way too much information, even with chapters. So let's cut right there, and we'll jump into the next part in part 2 of the video. So anyways, hope that you enjoyed this. Hope that gave you a little bit of help. The last thing I can say is, poison charms. They don't really have a ton of value, but they can have a little bit. They kind of used to have more value, I would say. I'm not really sure what the like big poison small charms are worth currently. But if you do get, a very high poison damage small charm, not 100, but you're looking into like 200, I don't know if 451 still exists or not. That's going to be your main stuff right there that you're going to be looking for. So I know the cut might be a little strange, but I just feel like we're about to dive into like another hour and a half, and so it might be better to split it up. Anyways, mwah. Peace, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good one.